What up, though, Pride Nation, and welcome back to another episode of your Detroit Lions Roundtable with DSA. I'm your host today, Luke G from Lukegsfieldreview. Obviously, you know that because you're on the channel. We got people who are going to be coming in as the show gets going. We are excited to be back. This is the first show since the draft is completed. We took off that Tuesday because we gave y'all 3 straight days of draft coverage, and we needed some time to catch up on sleep and put in with family members and other stuff like that. So we are officially back. Hope you guys are ready to talk some Detroit Lions football. If you have not heard, this is the official roundtable where you're going to get your best news from people who know the sport of football. All right, so J-Mo, would you mind being able to do the roll call if you could?
What's good, everybody? Make sure you guys like the video, man. We about to have a good time tonight because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. My boy Vast Starwin in the building. We got Rich Law, Go Lions, Detroit Drew in the building, a fellow DSA member. We got Angelo, Alphabet. That's just what I'm calling you. James Holyfield, Rich Law. You can call me Funk is always in the building. David 99 in the building. What's good, y'all?
Yep. Listen. We got a lot to cover because, like we said, we were off. We took some time off to kind of get caught up, and so as people start to get in here, I know y'all looking like, oh, y'all earlier than usual. Yes, because I am still working. I am still on the clock. I am still out here in these streets, as they say. So yes, we just want to make sure that everybody's here now, people. We're going to be talking a little bit about the draft. We're going to be talking a little bit about this team, this offseason as a whole, and we hope that you enjoy it. So I think Rachel is going to join us a little bit later, and I believe that we're going to have a few other people scragging here. Now, you can call me Funky. Hey, Luke, what's the word on Brett? Interior line from Seattle. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Listen, if you do not know who's on the panel with me today, we have one half of the dynamic duo from the real Detroit Lions fans, Mr. Andrew. What up, though?
Yo, what up, everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then we have the heart of the city, 313 J-Mo. What up, though?
What's good, y'all? How y'all doing out there? I love Andrew's enthusiasm. It makes me excited.
Hey, man. I mean, you know what it is. Like Luke said, we were live for a couple of days in a row, probably combined for like 20 hours. And then we just went live yesterday. So,
yeah,
kind of tired.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good, man.
So to try to catch up and recap since we've been off, I will answer questions throughout the show and do my best to try to address every single one. But we do have topics that we want to hit on and get her done, as they say. What up, though, Mondo? So thoughts on if we sign Clowney? We won't. We won't. I have no doubts we won't. So that's the way I see it. I feel like we got there. First thing y'all can do is hit that like button and get this thing going. All right, listen up, people. All right. Fresh out the gate, we're going to do something. We're going to do draft grades for each player that we selected in the draft. And then we're going to see if everybody's overall grade matched up. So we'll start off with you, Andrew. First round, we took Jeff Okudah. What do you give that in terms of a grade as of right now?
So are we going based off the player or based off everything in context? Where they were taken at the position and all that.
Everything. It's Free Smoke Thursday. Everything.
Yep. Everything. Right. So what you do is you give me the grade. First of all, give me your overall grade for the draft. Overall grade.
Overall grade, I gotta say about an A-.
A-. All right. We're gonna see if your A- really holds up. All right. Give me your grade for Jeff Okudah. What grade you giving him for that?
I'm going to have to give him an A. You went out and you got the overall, number one cornerback in the draft. And although I wanted Simmons, I mean, that's still a very solid pick.
Okay. And for our second pick, DeAndre Swift, what grade are you giving him?
Oh, we're going through the whole thing first, like that. Okay,
yeah, the whole thing. I want to see if your view really match up with your overall grade.
All right, so I was not as happy with the Swift pick because I'm all about establishing the trenches before getting a skill player like a running back. So I'm gonna go B plus because you still went out and you still got the number 1 ranked running back in the second round. So I'll stick with a B plus.
Okay. Now we got a Vikes fan in here. Hey, I'm glad to see you back, Vikes167. You gotta hit me up, Vikes. I gotta get you on the show so we can talk some sports, man. Appreciate if you get on the show and talk with us. Then we go in the third round and we take Jonah Jackson from Ohio State. What grade you giving him for that?
So just because you skipped Julian Arquara, I'll touch bases on that first, Luke.
Oh, you know what? I sure did forget. I forgot Julian.
He's not the only one that forgets that we had.
I forgot all about Julian, man.
Like,
right. So I didn't forget about Julian.
So what do you give Julian?
All right. So I mean, if this guy didn't snap his leg, he would have easily went first round or early second round. So I'm gonna give that an A. And I don't know if you're doing A pluses or not, but A is gonna be the highest for me.
Okay. Listen.
Yeah, I mean, he fell and you snagged him at the perfect time to fill a hole that we had on our defense.
Okay. What are you giving the guard pick of Jackson?
I love the player. I don't like that we traded out for him, so I'm gonna give it an A minus.
All right. What about what we took next? Oh, I can never pronounce this dude. Stanberg.
just call him Big Nasty, bro. That's what he go by.
Right. So him, I'm gonna go and give him a B because I feel like we could have got him later. But I love this kid. I mean, just watching him and his raw power and wanting to just completely kill the other player across from him just really gets me excited.
All right, and then they took Cephas. What are you giving him for that?
After watching the tape and everything, man, I got to give that a solid B plus, A minus, like down the middle.
Is that a B plus or A minus? You know, those is different. Which one? Ain't no in between on this. What grade you giving them?
Dude, all right. We needed a wide receiver, and I thought he was a top 2 wide receiver at the given time, so I'm going to go A minus.
A minus. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And then they took Huntley. What up, though, Antoine? What are you giving Huntley?
Okay, so originally, man, a solid F.
Originally.
Like a hard F, man. But when I really thought about it, I broke down everything. I watched his tape. I'm going to give that an A because he's going to fight for that. Dude, yeah. So listen these is his grades,
J-Mo. These is his grades, J-Mo.
But how you switch from an A to an F, bro? Like, bro.
These is his grades, J-Mo.
Hear me out.
I know that's his opinion. A to an F.
F to an A, bro. It was originally an awful pick in my eyes, and then I switched it because, for one, the kid is talented, man. If you go and watch his tape, not only does he have crazy quick speed, but the kid in space is a phenomenal athlete. I mean, it's crazy how he just gets separation once he gets the ball in his hand. And the fact that not only can he play a role in our running game and passing game, but he could easily take over both our punt return and kick return spot. So I think it was a great pick because people tend to forget that there's 3 phases of football. And if you can't do well in special teams, then you're not getting that good field position to start your drive. So I thought it was a phenomenal pick.
Okay, all right. At the Huntley, they went with the big D tackle out of Utah. Can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. What are you giving that pick?
You talking about the Utah?
Yeah, the Utah D tackle.
Dude, so that was a 7th round, right?
6th, I believe.
Okay. So originally I was like, man, this is about a B or so. I'm happy to address the trenches. But looking into it, it sounds like he was better than Fotu. And I also was watching him, and the dude is a pretty good run stuffer. So I'm going to give that a solid B plus just because it's a late round pick. But he has a lot of upside if they can kind of coach him up.
Okay. And the last pick, the D tackle / D end from Ohio State.
I'm going to give that a B minus. I mean, I love the fact he's from a big school, Ohio State. They had a very dominant defense this past year, but the kid is more raw talent than he is skilled. So I'm not as big of a fan of it.
All right. Now, your original grade that you gave the draft was an A minus, but grading it pick by pick, it averaged out to a B plus.
Okay, I'm fine with that. A minus, B plus.
So you got him at a B plus as it averaged out to. J Mo, give me your grades. First pick, Jeff Okuda. First of all, what's your overall grade that you giving them?
I've been struggling between B and B minus. But
wait a minute. Hold on, J Mo. Don says Luke G feel like Roger Goodell when he trying to pronounce names. Goodell had me proud because I was like, bro, at least I ain't the only one who out here struggling with these names, man, for real. So yes, I appreciate it. All right, overall grade for this draft, what are you giving them?
I'm struggling with B and B minus.
Okay.
And, I'm gonna give him a B. And I do want to say, but to Weezy Deep 313, Packers took Jordan Love because they don't like Aaron Rodgers no more. Jalen Hurts got selected because Carson Wentz gets hurt. It's very simple, not nearsighted. But all right. Why would I give him an A, Buffalo? Come on.
Okay, listen. So you're giving him a B as an overall grade.
Yeah.
All right. What are you giving Okuda? Let's see if your B holds up.
Okuda gets a B.
All right. And what are you giving the DeAndre Swift pick?
B minus.
B minus. Okay. And what are you giving the Julian Okoro pick?
I've been going back and forth on this pick a lot. But I'm gonna give him a B plus because like if he's healthy, because I'm tired of getting these guys that's not healthy. But if he's healthy, he stays that way. He's gonna be very
okay. What are you giving the Jonah Jackson pick?
I'm gonna give that pick a A.
Okay. What about the other guard, Steinberg?
Now I want to get his pick an A plus, but that has nothing to really do with the pick. That's just me being happy we doubled up on the guards. But I'm gonna give this pick a B minus. Because wait, which one did we trade up for, Jonah or Stenberg?
Jonah.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Okay, so what are you giving the Cephas pick?
I'm gonna give that pick an A plus. Cephas gonna be good, man.
Okay. Okay. What are you giving Huntley pick?
Now this might mess up my whole score. But
a Z.
Like my score right now is looking like it's at a B plus, B minus. Like, but this might take the score. This might destroy the score. But no, I'm gonna give him a D. I just don't think. My main gripe is if you're going to take a running back at 35th overall, you don't take another running back at 5th when there's better talent on the board. And I won't stray from that regardless of how good he plays.
Okay. All right. And the D tackle from Utah, what are you giving them on a grade? I want to get everybody's grade in because I know that people want to know what our grades are, and then we get into the topics. So what are you giving them for that? For that D tackle from Utah? I'm not gonna botch his name.
John Penasini. But
I'm not gonna play no games with you. Penny what? How you say it?
Penasini.
Penasini.
Okay. Or Penasini, like kind of like an Italian type of sound. Penasini.
I'm not. Like I said, I'm not gonna play with you. But go ahead though.
I might get his pick an A because I mean. NFL is about opportunity, so he probably won't make the team. But if some team falls off or something like that happens, I think he can make an NFL roster. So I think it was a really good pick. And what Andrew said about Fotu, the dude is a run stuffer for real. Like, so I really like the pick.
Okay. And the last pick, the D tackle from Ohio State. How you feeling about him?
I'm B minus.
Sorry, what the letter?
A B minus.
B minus. Okay. All right, now, wait a minute. Hold on. What did I do wrong?
No, that Huntley pick messed up my score.
Hey, listen, it's yours. yours came out still to be a B. So you really do agree that yours is a B. So yours messed up. Now mine is going to tick off everybody, and it's a logical explanation for it. And I know I'm going to tick people off. I give them an overall grade in this draft. Now, keep in mind, I don't think we had the worst draft in the NFC North, but I still give them the overall draft grade of a C. Stay with me before y'all go and riot, okay? My thing is this. I'm only giving them a C because I want to see them take snaps. And when I gave them a high grade last year for what they did not utilize those draft picks. And that ticked me off. So I can't grade them higher until I'm sure that they're going to utilize the damn draft picks. We took TJ Hawkinson after that first game. You know, they basically blanketed him in the second. And then he had his injuries and stuff, but they never really utilized the tight ends. And it was like, what? And then they all the other picks after that still grossly underutilized. And I didn't like that. You know, Don says he heading to the YouTube headquarters. Listen, I'm just saying that it's hard for me. Like, I can see what they did in college and say, yeah, I love what they did. But man, if you're not going to utilize the pick, I got to wait to bump the grade up to see if they're going to actually utilize the pick. And that's what my problem is. Can you utilize the pick? So for Okudah, it's going to be a C. Every player on there is going to be a C except for one person. I gave a lower grade to. But
a lower grade?
Yeah, so I'll show you what I mean. I gave a C to Okudah because I think Okudah is finna get a really fast crash course with who we face this year. We faced a lot of teams this year, from the Cardinals to the Falcons to the Bucks. So he's going to get his battle test going on. I'm cool with that. All right. Now, the second pick, we definitely needed a running back. And this is why I'm not killing them. If they utilize these weapons, my draft grade go up because they did fill a lot of needs. They filled a lot of needs. I still have concerns, but they filled a lot of needs. I just wonder, are they going to use our goddamn picks? Like, can we use them? Now, on the Okora pick, I gave it a C. I gave a C to the guard because we needed a guard, both guard. Where I dropped off at was the 2 D tackles. I gave those Ds. And when you average it out, it still come out to a C. And the reason I gave those D picks is because I don't believe that they're going to make the team. I don't. I think they have.
What did you give Swift?
A C. Everybody got a C up into those D tackles. Okay. Those D tackles, both of those got Ds because I don't think they're going to make the team. I really don't. I just don't see those 2 D tackles making the team at all. And I just looked at it and I said, if they're going to use them, I'm good. Now, Angelo says, Luke is on something. Go and check on him. Look, stay with me. Stay with me, Angelo. We took TJ Hawkinson. They underutilized the hell out of him. They did. And they didn't really use him. And then last year, we took – who did we take in the second round last year? So I'm drawing a blank. Who is it? Tavai. So Tavai, that's what I wanted. Tavai was the only one that we utilized. Like,
but you know that was by necessity.
But that was
right.
I was just gonna say, but that was because the other guy was hurt. So I'm not killing them. Third round, we took Will Harris. He looked terrible. He looked absolutely terrible, but we still didn't even utilize him enough. What happened to Austin Bryant? What happened to him? We didn't utilize them. And then you just keep going down the list. You took Travis Fulgham. You cut him, brought him back, cut him again, brought him back. I mean, like, what in the hell? Ty Johnson. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him on I know he was hurt. I wanted to see him more on the kick and punt return. You was using Danny Amendola. So why did you bring this running back in? And even when we had no running backs in, I know Brian was hurt too. Well, even when we brought the running back in, you didn't utilize them still. Like, it was like for what? You went and found every running back off the couch, as I saw from Jack Frost, which is true, and you still wasn't utilizing Ty Johnson. So now the question becomes, okay, Amani, when you finally gave Amani a chance to play, he balled. But then you put him back on the bench, and then you went and drafted a cornerback this year. So I'm trying to figure out, what am I supposed to do with that pick? And then you took the D tackle in the late round, PJ Johnson and Isaac Nada. You cut Isaac Nada, brought him back. You cut PJ Johnson, he stayed gone. So my thing is, we underutilized a lot of people. So for me, my draft grade is, I'm gonna give them a flat out meh at this point, because I want to see you utilize the talent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not paying attention, the queen of the den has just showed up, Miss RachelMarieSports. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Good. Glad to have you. We are doing our quick draft grades because we want to make sure that we cover that part, and then we get into the other parts. And then plus, I want to see if our draft grades will match up to what you really giving them by grading each person.
Okay.
So starting out, give me your overall grade for the Detroit Lions draft.
I put in my video about the draft that I gave them a B plus, which is what I think I said on Saturday of the draft as well.
Okay. Now, Michael says, what do you expect from a 6th and 7th rounder, though? I don't expect anything. I expect this is the thing. I don't expect anything from a 6th or a 7th rounder, but I expect for them to have a real legit chance to make the team. Hell, if I took the mindset that what do you expect from a 6th or 7th rounder, and I was working for the New England Patriots, Tom Brady ain't Tom Brady. Shannon Sharp ain't in the Hall of Fame. So to me, 6th and 7th round people can really come in and help your team out. My problem is I don't think the 2 D tackles that we took are going to make the team. And if they don't make the team, then now the question becomes, well, why didn't you get people who can make the team where you took the running back Huntley and Cephas? That's going to help on the D line. Because I don't know if y'all know this or not, but our D line is literally the same D line minus Snacks, add Danny Shelton. That's it. So, I'm with it. All right, now, Rachel, one more time, give the people your overall grade.
Overall grade was a B plus.
B plus. All right, give me your first grade for Jeff Okudah. What are you giving them for taking that pick?
So I think I've repeated this to death. I really wish we could have traded back, and people jumped all over me like, 2 people have to come to the table for that. I get it. I still wish that we could have. But as a player and for it filling a need, I gave them a B for that pick. Maybe a B minus.
Okay. And for the Swift pick in the 2nd round, how are you feeling about that?
Now that, to be completely honest, I'm happy to have him. I mean, I've been watching a little bit of film, which makes me a little bit happier. But I will say that my immediate reaction was to give that pick a C minus. I thought it was too high.
Okay. But now you're giving that pick what?
The more I watch film, I'm not going to move it to a B. I'll give it a C plus. It can move up from a C minus to a C plus. I'm excited to see what he puts out on the field, but I'm still like,
okay,
man, I wasn't even going to look at a running back until 4th or 5th round. But I think we got a good one. I'll say that.
I mean, listen, I'm with you. Okay, they come out, they take Julian. I want to call him Romeo so bad. They take Julian Okoye with the 3rd pick in there. What are you giving them for that?
I'm giving them an A for that pick, only because I think that he was actually a player that could have gone higher had he not suffered his injury his senior season. His outlook was looking a little bit better than it actually stacked up to in this year's draft. There was a little bit more, after doing some research, there was a little bit more talk about him than I even realized. And after kind of doing a little bit of research, I give them an A for that pick, and I just wanted to address pass rush so bad.
Okay. All right. Then they go and take Jonah Jackson, guard out of Ohio State. What are you giving them for that?
I'm gonna give him an A for that one as well. Trenches. We needed to address the trenches. We need to keep Matt Stafford on his feet, and we need to get this run game going.
Okay, so you give him an A for that, you said?
Mm-hmm.
All right, just make sure I heard you right. All right. And then they go and take another guard. One Mr. Stanberg.
Mm-hmm. I like that what I hear about his mentality. I think he's going to bring a little bit of like that gritty, kind of nasty personality back to Detroit. I think we haven't had anybody out there acting that way in a hot minute. I do have some concerns with him that I think are coachable concerns, but I'm going to give them a B there.
A B. B as in boy. Okay.
B as in boy.
All right. Then they go and they take, was it Cephas? Yeah, Cephas. They took Cephas next, the wide receiver. How are you feeling about that pick?
I like this pick a little bit more than I originally thought. I think he's going to eventually take Marvin Jones Jr.'s place. And we do well with these contested catch wide receivers. He's not the speediest guy, but he's a route runner. I don't know if I'm in love with him, but I definitely do see how he's going to fit into this offense. So I'll give him a B+ there.
Okay. Now, just really quick, I want to put this out here. Weezy D313 says, DSA, I'm a comedian. Follow your boy on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram, so I'm planning on doing it. But if you are on Instagram, you're part of Pride Nation. Show him some love. He's a comedian. And I guess that's his Instagram handle. Is that right? I don't know how they work.
Hey, if you're not funny, I will expose you. It's like, no, I'm playing. No, I'm just saying, if I take time out of my day to give you that look to go see if you funny, man, you gotta be funny, my G. I'll go look.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna get you all the promotion you want. Once I saw you was here, you a Detroit person. I'm gonna get you all the promotion. I wish you nothing but the best. So, hey, keep it going. All right, Rachel. After they take Cephas, they take running back Jason Huntley, New Mexico State. What do you give him a grade for?
This was my D. And before everybody in the chat starts telling me, the better points about him as a player, it's not about him as a player. I just didn't feel like it was a need. I mean, I'm glad to add that depth to the running back core. I think, depth pieces are important. We had a lot of injuries last season. So it's not about whether or not I'm impressed with him as a player, but I just thought there were other things you could have done with that pick.
Okay. The D tackle, John Pennsylvania. Did I say that right?
I don't like trying to say that one.
I said Pennsylvania. Rachel, don't worry, Rachel. They already killed me for it.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I'm working on it. Don't judge me. All right. What are you giving him for that pick?
I'm just gonna give them a B- for that one. He looks like he has some potential, and I wanted to address defensive tackle the entire draft. And I'm not gonna kill them for anything in that round, especially because at that point I also think they're just looking for scheme fits, and those players are going to provide some competition, so that can't hurt.
Okay, all right. Now, artist Frank says Detroit this year's 49ers. Okay, hey.
Now I hope so.
Listen. Y'all don't understand. I'm not shooting down nothing. Everything after this year, all bets are off the table. I ain't shooting down nothing this year. But I do want to see us utilize our weapons more. And if you are in here, please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed. And if you have not told a friend, to tell a friend to let them know. I seen Old Time Dave was in the building. Shout out to him. I seen Vikings in the building. Shout out to him. So I want the people, to know it. So you're giving that D tackle pick. What letter again? I'm sorry.
I just put it at a C+ because I don't want to say that it's completely average. I'll say it's a little bit above average, and I hope that he does provide some competition, and maybe he earns a spot on the roster, and then then I feel better about that pick.
Okay. All right. So the last pick, they take a D tackle out of Ohio State. What do you think about that? Give me the grade.
Now that I'm just holding it a C because, to be completely honest with you, I don't know. So I didn't go too far one way or the other.
Well,
Right,
he's a Buckeye anyway, so like you don't have to look that hard.
Listen, I put it like this. I put it like this. Your original grade was a B. Based on the pick that you gave, you averaged out with a C plus. So your grades per player average out to a C plus. So that just lets you know where we stand. Which ain't bad. I think what it is just, I wanted to put that out there for the people so we can have that and get through this draft so we can talk some football. So what I'm gonna do is get everybody to get a chance to get their final thoughts on this draft so we can get it out so people don't have to ask it and kill us later on the video. So I'll start it off. Here's my final thoughts on the draft. I thought that the Lions' approach to this draft was different. Okay. And on top of, hold on one second. My son is coming up. Hold on. Son, you know I'm doing the show. What you got for me? Let me see. What you got?
I got some.
Daddy Luke coming out.
Okay.
First one.
First one.
Make sure everybody in the chat, make sure you guys like the video, man.
Okay. Listen, when Daddy done, you can show me all the books you want, and we'll buy all the books you want. Okay.
I want to get them.
We're gonna get the book. I'm gonna buy you the books.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Most people would be like, "Man, like Luke's kid is interrupting the DSA right now," but I always find it so funny.
Man, listen, my son is 100.2 billion% a daddy's boy, and you cannot tell him nothing about his father. It ain't nothing you can say to him. So I'm just saying, I'm with it. But here's my problem. I thought the Lions draft was weird. In this regard. Bob Quinn went away from his formula. My belief has always been that the players that you get, rather when you're picking in the top 5, you're not drafting for best player available, or you're not drafting for need. You're drafting for the talent. And to me, the best way to explain that is simply to look over at the people we're trying to be like, the New England Patriots. New England got rid of Tom Brady. Y'all go and look it up. Tell me who's the quarterback they drafted.
They're about to get Andy Dalton.
I don't care. But guess what? What they didn't do is they didn't waste a resource in the younger talent and going to get another quarterback. They just said, hey, we have a proven system and we're gonna ride with it. The other problem I had with it was this. To me, when you go through and you look at it, I'm like, look, they filled a lot of needs, and I respect that. You ain't gonna get no complaints out of me. I love that they filled a lot of needs, but a lot of the stuff that they feel is more of an indictment of what happened in the previous drafts, where they essentially are saying that these guys ain't what we thought they were, so we moving on from them. Good, that's good to know. But I still sit there and I say, our starting D tackles you just swapped out Snacks for Shelton, like. That's it. And I know we got Nick Williams. They're going to use him more like they're going to use Hand in a mixed role between D tackle and D end, but that's it. Like, I want so much more. And I just felt like, to me, we missed opportunities to truly improve in areas that I know is going to be a problem, because now we're going to be a blitzing team this year. Y'all, I guarantee you, we were dead last in blitzing. We're going to be first in blitzing this year. They're going to send the house, the car, the moon, the sun, and the mountains at the teams now. And I really believe that. My thing is, and I'm not sleeping on Danny Shelton. Y'all don't know how bad I liked the Danny Shelton when he came out of college, and how much I liked the Vita Vea when he came out of college. I like both the players. But it's Danny Shelton. It's not like he's no pass rushing D tackle. He's not. Like, it's like, cool. And so I'm like, I get it. My final thoughts is this draft going to be utilized, whereas last year's draft wasn't? So therefore, that's my final thoughts on it. This is a wait and see. I cannot wait to see what happens, because I'm telling you, the teams we are about to play our cornerback is getting ready to get himself tested, and you got Chad Johnson asking Okuda and Henderson, like, look, come work out with me. In quote, I promise I'll go half speed. Dude, disrespectful. Chad Johnson out here in these streets. So I'm just saying. My final thoughts is the Lions filled a bunch of needs. Great. The Lions got Matt Patricia's guys. Great. The Lions improved our running game. Great. They addressed the need for guards. Great. The receiver they took, I don't think he made the team. The running back they took, Huntley, I think he makes the team because he is going to be a more dynamic kick and punt returner than what Ty Johnson has offered. The reason I think Cephas doesn't make the team is because I think Ellison, who can also return kicks, is going to stay because he can return kicks as well as play receiver.
Oh, so, hell no.
I'm telling you why.
Geronimo Allison gonna beat out Cephas? Oh my God.
Just because he can return kicks. Like, seriously. Listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, people. I'm just trying to give y'all my view and have it. I think our 2D tackles does not make the team. So essentially, I think everybody make the team, but the guard that we took, Steinberg, I told y'all when we took him, I said, look, I watched film on him. I knew he was not very good in pass block, but I know he's going to be a backup. So you essentially got one starting guard. And look, Big Soup says Cephas can return. Oh, what he just said, Cephas can return kicks. I didn't see no film of him returning kicks, and when I looked at his stat line, I didn't see nothing that was impressive that said he can return kicks. And I'm with you, Josh Allen, that he's not a dynamic returnment, but the fact that he can return kicks on top of still play receiver is what they gonna look at. Y'all got to keep in mind, this the same team that literally just really kept Chris Jones over like Devin Kennard. Like, this is not nothing crazy, I'm saying. Like, it's not like I'm just making up some weird stuff here. This team do stuff differently. I like Cephas, but I'm telling you, I don't think he makes the team. I just don't see it. Now, Shay says it's crazy how fans were complaining about blitzing when Patricia came here, but when Caldwell was here, we only blitzed a little bit more than Patricia. But the Lions fans are fine and dandy about it. I think the difference there, Shay, was they were still somewhat having a winning record. That's what it was. So that's what that was. Old timer Dave, who's a Packers fan, he can vouch for me. He says that that Gmo has fumbling problems with kicks and punt returns, and I think the Lions is going to still be like, he good. J-Mo, give the final thoughts on this draft so we can get into some serious football topics because we got to address a lot of stuff.
First, I'm going to say, ain't no way Geronimo Allison making this team. Now, on to the draft. I refuse to accept Geronimo Allison on this team.
Chris Lacey.
I'm sorry.
You can't remember Chris Lacey?
I would rather have Chris Lacey, bro. And you know I don't like Chris Lacey.
I know, but you remember how you didn't want Chris Lacey and they somehow kept bringing him back?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. This ain't the first time.
I think Cephas is gonna play well in camp, but regardless of that, this draft, I think it was solid, but we could have been better. And I think my issue was the first two picks. We could have been better. We could have got Isaiah Simmons and the best defensive end on the board, or you get Isaiah Simmons and you get the best guard on the board. That's not what we did. The one thing I don't like about the Swift pick is I predicted it. You think most people will be happy predicting a pick. The only reason I predicted it because I thought what could be the stupidest thing the Lions could do right now. And I'm like, the stupidest thing they could do is take Swift. And then y'all did it. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, that wasn't luck. That was just me thinking what would not be wise. And they did it anyway. But I do like Swift. But my thing is, why didn't you get an A.J. Dillon type of running back? Runs a 4.5, 240 pounds, a bruiser to pair with Carry-On instead of a guy that you're going to try to have replace Carry-On. Now, if Swift end up replacing him, now you need – because Swift he's a Carry-On type running back. He runs on the outside.
I'm going to mute you really quick because you're breaking up. So I don't know. Why is it doing that?
I'm breaking up.
Now you're not. I don't know
I
what
can hear
happened.
I'm
J-Mo
gonna say what
fine,
happened.
yeah.
Dog. I'm like, hold on.
Oh, you hear him
Wait,
just
what's the
fine?
last thing y'all heard?
Yeah.
I heard everything.
Oh, you heard everything?
Oh,
Then maybe that was
okay.
Yeah.
me,
I was about
J-Mo.
to say,
My apologies. My apologies. Maybe that was
yeah,
me
I
then.
was about
'cause,
to say
yeah.
that's on your end, man. But I was
I'm
gonna say
directly
like,
connected, but hey,
hey,
stuff
I don't
happens.
know, man. Rachel
Stuff
heard
happens.
everything. She in Florida. Like, what you mean?
My bad. My bad,
Right.
people. Go ahead, J-Mo. My bad.
But I felt like you're bringing Swift in to either compete or replace Carryon instead of pairing somebody with Carryon like a AJ Dillon or J.K. Dobbins, running backs that are more excel at running on the inside. And like Swift has run on the inside in college, but if you're gonna tell me 5'8", 215 Swift is an inside runner in the NFL like he Christian McCaffrey, I'm gonna tell you I gotta see it to believe it, really. Because Christian McCaffrey is the only small running back I've ever really seen like that's run in between the tackles. And then I love the guard picks though. I love both of them. I love Stenberger because I'm tired of us having these soft cupcake offensive linemen. Matthew Stafford get drilled, a defensive end standing above him talking smack, and then you'll just pick Stafford up like, oh, it's gonna be okay with your broken ribs. No, I need an O lineman that's gonna put him on his you know what and let him know what the deal is. Like it ain't gonna go like this today. That's why I love Stenberg, and I do think Jonah will be able to start day one, so I'm not gonna have a problem with a day one starter. I do think we have a lot of guys that are going to be able to start. Like I think Okawara will probably start at the Jack linebacker, and I think he was a very, very solid pick. But I'm just worried about players with this injury history. I already know how I feel about Huntley. He probably will make the team anyway. I love the Cephas pick. I think he's going to be very good. I see something special with Cephas when he be running routes sometimes. It's just like he's not Calvin Johnson running the 6'5" and running a 4.3, but he's still getting open. So, and then the defensive tackles, it is what it is. Overall, like I said, this is a B draft, a solid draft, and we'll see what it is. But I want to say something to all of the fans. I'm speaking for myself and a lot of guys in the DSA. Last year, we were in love with the draft, and we went 3-12.
Yes.
So let's remember, like the only pick that we didn't like last year was like when we picked Will Harris. I think everybody was universally
that's the only
like,
one.
Will Harris.
Like what?
Hey, to be fair, I hated last year's draft, so
I'm sure you did, Andrew. I'm sure you did.
Mom, I'm gonna put that out there.
Like when we did this in the DSA last year, we loved that draft. Like Austin Bryant was a little bit questionable, but we didn't like destroy it. And when we picked Amani, we were like dancing praises because like a lot of us had Amani going in the second round. Like I couldn't believe he fell like that, but we loved the draft and we were not that good. So, and we have some different opinions on this draft and we're not giving it A's and we're not in love with certain picks. That probably means maybe we'll be better. Just like we loved last year free agency and again, we couldn't win any football games, but it was a solid draft, but I don't know if this is going to move the needle to help us make it the playoffs. So we need to do a little bit more like actually producing on the field.
Okay. Rachel, what's your final thoughts on the draft?
They're really not together. I'm thinking I'm not going to get too ahead of myself either to one direction or the other because we won't really be able to judge the answer to this question until we see it all together on the field. And I say that based on how many of us felt last year's roster looked on paper and how I feel it looks on paper right now. I mean, on paper, I'm not mad at it, but at the end of the day, this is where I'm at after the draft. And it's just that I'm excited for some of the picks. I'm not excited for some, but judgment for me, I'm trying to postpone until we see this finished product because I will sip the Kool-Aid and I will be let down. And I get pretty emotional about football. So I'm trying not to.
Hey, Rachel, that happened to all of us last year. We sipped the Kool-Aid and we was like, if the Lions are healthy, we win in 11 games and we were not healthy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that is where I'm at with it. That's my final thoughts on this draft. I still think it was a solid draft, but I don't even think that a solid draft necessarily means you're going to have a solid season.
Okay. I can get with that.
Ooh, I like
Andrew, What are your thoughts? The final thoughts on this before we can get into these heavy football topics that we got to address. Because the Lions did have an offseason and
First
offseason
off,
to play.
All right. So first off, I want to say we got 60 people in the chat. Hit that like button and subscribe to all the DSA members. So when I look at this draft, I was giving my grades, and some were great, some were okay, but when you really look at the draft, all I can think about is they drafted to have people plug in day one, not this guy needs training camp, this guy needs mini camp, whatever. You look at last year, Hawkinson, shared time. Tavai, shared time. Will Harris didn't start playing until the end of the season. Austin Bryant, hurt, and then when he was healthy, barely played. And pretty much the rest of the guys were either cut and re-signed or just didn't make the team. So when you look at the draft this year, it's Okudah. He's going to play day one. You're going to put Swift. Swift's definitely going to be sharing the carries day one. And if not, he's going to take over a majority of the workload. And then you have Okwara, who's going to take over the Jack linebacker spot. Jonah Jackson, definitely going to start. Stenberg could potentially fight for that other guard spot. So when I look at it, I just think it was a phenomenal draft for all the crap that's going on in the world. And given the situation, they brought in people that they believe can start day one instead of having to share carries and slowly ease them along for future, pretty much playmaking abilities. They brought in people that are going to come in day one and know how to play, know the system, and is going to help their team succeed from week one.
Okay. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that we got that part of the way, y'all got our thoughts on the draft. Let's just get right down into it. The Lions clearly had an offseason, right? And they have already went through free agency. We went through the draft. The question is very simple. We start this off with you, Andrew. Have the Lions done enough? I remember repeat. Have the Lions done enough to make it to the playoff this season?
I mean, that's the age-old question, right? I think we're in the right direction. It is definitely going to come down to our players going to be healthy for an entire season, which has not been the case the last couple of years. We've had so many injuries and people going on IR and trading out starters that we haven't even given ourselves the opportunity to compete. So I think that with what they did in the draft and bringing back players that, we didn't have last season, like Deshaun Hand, and just people that were hurt all year is definitely going to give us the opportunity to be a playoff contender.
Okay. What about you, Rachel? What do you think? Did the Lions do enough to make the playoff this year?
I still kind of circle back to my last answer with this one. I think that's a really tough question until we're actually able to see this finished product. However, just looking at it on paper, I am not going to lie. I would be surprised if we make the playoffs with like a division title. If we end up winning the right amount of games to land in a wild card spot, I would be less surprised, but I also would not be surprised to miss that spot either. So I guess my answer is if I think we did enough to make the playoffs, the answer is maybe with a dash of no.
I ain't mad at you.
You making the cake over there, huh?
Hey, look, I see. J-Mo, did the Lions do enough this offseason to make it to the playoffs?
I don't think I'm more with Andrew. I don't think it's what we did this offseason. I mean, I've seen us make a playoff run with a bad roster. So I don't think the roster matters. I think the coaching matters. Are you going to hold us back? As much as people don't like Caldwell, and he did hold us back in some areas, but in a lot of areas he didn't hold us back, and we were able to win football games. So we're good enough without this draft to make the playoffs, but it's about what our coaching hold up. Or will he call a timeout when Stafford makes the play to win the game in Arizona? What is he going to do? So to me, getting Okudah and losing Slay is a wash. And then you got DeAndre Swift and you got these guards. So Swift and these guards and all of these defensive backs that we got in free agency and guys that we got to fix our defense. If Swift and these guards pan out, we have enough because the only thing that's keeping us from consistently going to the playoffs is a consistent running game. And looking at what the Bears and the Packers did in the division in the draft, they didn't do nothing. So it's really like, can the Vikings do something? And I don't believe in them. But I'm with Rachel. I'll be surprised if it's division title, but I could see us winning 9 or 10 games and making the playoffs.
Okay. So, I'm going to get right into it. I don't think we did enough to make the playoffs. And the reason I say that is without me even seeing when we play, it's the opponents that we have played. That's part of it. And 2, I think we still need some work on that D-line. I think they started out right, getting the offensive line together, building up the trenches there. But again, it just gets me to a point where, for me, are these moves that get you there? I don't think I can remember a cornerback who came in and changed the defense enough for it to get carried to a playoff game. Revis didn't do that. They had a hellified pass rush. Deion Sanders didn't do it. And I just wonder if we did enough based on who we're going to go against. Because the one thing I do know is the receiving corps we about to go up against is not normal. Like, some really good receiving corps. So I get it. But I don't know if we did enough to make the playoffs. Let me ask this question. To kind of put it like this, at the very least, is this team more talented than the Jim Caldwell teams? And we'll start this off with you, J-Mo.
No. Our 2014 team was the team that could have made a Super Bowl run, but we all know what happened in the Dallas game. I have a hard time believing. I love Kenny Galladay, but he's not Megatron. And we had Golden Tate, and we had Slay, and we had DeAndre Levy, and we had Ndamukong Suh in a good defensive line. I don't think this team has more talent on it than that 2014 team. The 2014 team still had a lot of issues, like we really did. But if you're talking about like talent, we had Suh. Like, what player on our defense is better than Suh? And on top of having Suh, we had Slay and Ziggy and Levy, as I just said. So, no, I don't think this is the most talented team. I mean, our running backs aren't as good, but definitely not. No.
Okay. What about you, Andrew? Do you think this team that we have now is more talented than any team that Jim Caldwell had?
I'm definitely going to have to agree with J-Mo here. I mean, I think our team is more balanced in the fact that we have just better depth, but overall, like, just complete game changers, not a chance.
Okay. Now, Vice167 says coaching, yes. You draft college players, the coaches turn them into pros. Could not agree with that more. Okay, I mean, listen, I'm picking up what people putting down. I'm picking up what people putting down. Rachel, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you feel like this team is more talented than any team Jim Caldwell has had?
So I'm going to agree with both Andrew and J-Mo here in that I do think that this team may be a little bit more balanced, but you will never find me telling anybody that this team is more talented than Suh in his prime, Calvin Johnson, Ziggy Ansah, Darius Slay. You're never going to find me telling anybody that really any of our teams are more talented than the teams that we had with Megatron and Suh.
Okay. Yeah, when I first saw the question, I really did not think y'all were going to go that way. So,
hey man, we put respect on Suh's name around here, man.
I did not think y'all was going that way. I actually thought I was getting ready to get hammered because I was going to be alone on this, and I was like, listen, this team is not more talented than what Caldwell had, and it wasn't like an indictment. It was just saying that I don't think that we did enough to be more talented because I'm a big believer in drafting the talent. You always want the talent, and we don't have a household name. So I wonder how that works. Now, Steve-O says this. It says, I think this team has less holes, but lacks the blue chip players 2014 had. Okay, listen, I just looked at the teams. I really went back and looked at the rosters of each one of the teams that he had, and it was so much on it that I was like, God, we had the talent. And then you look at the record that went with it, and it was like we were so close. And I look at this team now, and I'm like, everything is so specific to this scheme, and I'm like, okay. But the players that we had on with Caldwell when he got there, it was kind of like, you know, you can put them in anything. Now, again, if you in here, make sure you hit that like button, and make sure that you show us some love and support. And
I
tell a
just
friend
want
and tell a
to
friend.
I just want to take a second really quick to shout out somebody in the chat, Rocky Adams. That is another Michigander Lion fan down here in Florida. He lives in Orlando. We watch a ton of the Lions games together with our little crew of Lions fans. And he made a good point. He said, don't forget pre-injury Levy.
That's what I'm saying.
Is on that team too.
DeAndre
Listen.
Levy was a monster.
If you look at that roster, I'm serious. If you look at that roster, it was so much talent on that roster. And I'm just telling you, like, for me, I kind of liked that roster better. I just did. So I'm sorry. Truth tell us that 2014 team didn't have a secondary. It didn't matter. The D line was so disgusting.
I was just about to say that. And our D line was like carrying the team, literally.
They got after
we had
him.
Glover Quinn and Slay, so I wouldn't say that. And we had good Glover Quinn. I'm not saying he got bad, but you know what I'm saying. We had when he was really good.
Now Motown football says we don't have a it factor on offense or defense. Our team is very dry, and I think what he's talking about is what is the identity of the team, which really rolls into this next question, which is what do you expect the identity of this team to be this season? We'll start this off with you, Rachel. What do you expect the identity of this team to be?
I really expect the identity of this team to now be that mold that Matt Patricia has for his defense. We've constantly been hearing, and you preach this a lot, he better have his guys. Some of the parts of this draft I actually think were Bevel influenced, obviously with a focus somewhat on the offense. But the fact that they didn't address the D-line like a lot of us thought they would tells me they didn't think that they needed to. Now, whether or not we think that they needed to and they think they needed to, that's obviously two different sides. But I think what we're going to see is what Patricia has had in mind for this defense, and that, whether it's good or it's bad, will be our identity this season. Or maybe on the back end of that, I'm also kind of hoping we see like our identity as the Lions with a run game. How crazy is that?
Right. Like, I mean, listen, to me, if the Lions get a run game off rip, I'm telling you right now, everything changes. Because if you have to come up to guard the run, and this is my thing. I know everybody's talking about Swift, but y'all don't understand how important it is for Kerryon Johnson to be in the mix of that Swift. Because if you go through and you look at the teams who are winning, the 49ers ran like 800 running backs. The Rams, the Ravens ran like 200 running backs. Kansas City had 3 or 4 running backs, and that was after they lost Kareem Hunt. They still was running back by committee, and it was nonstop to where they was always bringing people in fresh. And then you go over to the, to the teams throughout the league, the Titans and just the ones in the playoffs. They ran that ball. So if you got a two-headed dragon that can do all types of things, that's a whole nother level of competency. Now, Antoine Ejuhai said the talent didn't come from Caldwell, though. We know that. But Caldwell was here, 4 years? And in 4 years, it would be kind of hard-pressed to go through that roster and find where his roster wasn't better than the three rosters we have currently. Like, I went through and matched them up piece by piece. The quarterback the same, granted. Running back is, different in that area, but the receiving core was much better with Golden Tate and CJ. The tight end room, I think, hands down, our tight end group is better now. But the offensive line is pretty much a push. So you dive there. D line is not even comparable. Linebackers is not comparable. And secondary, I feel like that's a push. So I get what you're saying though. I really do. Andrew, what is this team's identity in 2020?
Yeah, I'm gonna touch kind of off of what Rachel said, and I think this is the first year that I'm gonna finally see a balanced team. When you look throughout our entire team, it seems like we actually have balance for the first time. It's not going to be we have no running backs, no ability to run the ball. We have to throw the ball nonstop. We finally brought in 2 guards to really shore up that we can run the ball on top of a tackle that is very good at run blocking. And then you drafted the number 1 running back. You brought in a second running back in that draft, and you're coming back with Kerryon Johnson healthy. And then on defense, I mean, I know you said we didn't really do much on the defensive line, Luke, but depends how you look at that. If you look at it as a 3-4 defense, we definitely did enough because you got Flowers, you got David,
Look,
Hand,
you want to say
all these
snakes
guys
too.
I almost did, but I was thinking S and Danny Shelton. But we have a very balanced team. There's not like a specific skill position where I'm like, man, we have no talent there. Even the linebacker core, which is not the greatest, we still have Collins and Tavai. And I think those are 2 good linebackers. And then you add Okawara, who can play that jack linebacker. I think we finally brought a good balance to our team.
Okay. Now, Alexander Kimmer, I tried it. I'm sorry, Alexander. He says, who are you excited to see on the field from the Lions rookie? For me, it's the guards. I'm dead serious. It really is. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase it. It's the guards and Swift. I just want a run game. You don't understand how bad I want this run game. Like right now, like if ever there's a time to have a run game, this is it. This is it. I want a run game so bad. So those are the guys that I would want to see. J-Mo, who's the rookies you are most excited to see on the field this year?
Well, you talking about a run game. I think every Lions fan since Barry Sanders retired would agree with you. That's how bad we want it. But I think it's going to be the same identity it's always been until I see something different. Unless we have a top 5 rushing attack, it's going to be Matthew Stafford save us. Because we can have a running game, but what if we're 14? That's not dominant enough where we're going to be dominating teams, and we're going to still have to have Stafford save the cake at the end of the day. And I'm not saying this because I like it. I'm saying this because I literally hate it. But look at the Packers. Aaron Jones was out of his mind last year, and it still was Aaron Rodgers. Are you going to save us or not? He couldn't do it, so they lost. So, and to me, it's the same way until this team shows me that they are committed for the team to go in one direction, which would be running the football and being a run-first team. I don't see that happening when you got Stafford at quarterback and Kenny Golladay at wideout. So I think the identity is going to be the same thing. It's always been, we're down in the 4th quarter, we need a game-winning drive, or we're going to lose. And I think his scheme will be all right, but until I see something different, and until I see a drive where we need a game-winning drive and we hand the ball to Swift and he give us a 40-yard touchdown run and the game is over, that's the type of things I'm talking about. We're winning games where we could throw the football or run the football and we're running and we're winning, then I can subscribe to that. But until I see that, I cannot at all. I think this is still a Matthew Stafford come save us team.
Okay. Now, Shay says, and Luke, he's going back to the question about comparing the teams. He says, Luke, the quarterback isn't the same. Caldwell had a healthy Stafford, while Patricia had an injured Stafford. Was Stafford hurt in that 6-10 year?
Yeah, he was hurt.
It was late in the season. Yeah,
right. It was right, but it was still late though, right? It was like I know he was
Patricia
hurt.
He had a good 11 games before Stafford got injured.
I'm just saying he was healthy then, and the reason Stafford re-aggravated the injury was because we didn't take the injury the first time series and tossed him back out there. So I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, there was the same guy there. It's still Matthew Stafford. Let me tell you, I think the identity this year is going to be much of a push or a bit of a balance. I think they want to run the ball, but I feel in my heart of hearts that we're still going to be a pass first team. And to me, I think the identity is going to be, keep everything in front of you, but make sure you come up and tackle and wrap up. I don't like the way the defensive scheme is set up, but I think that this team's identity should be run the ball, play defense that get after the quarterback. That's one of the reasons why if I was betting on prop bets and we were betting that we were going to be in the top 10 of most blitzing teams, I'm going to tell you we are. I got a feeling he's going to dial it up because when he went back and looked at it, he realized that, they was missing. So, it's one of them things where he didn't dial up the blitz enough, in my opinion. And to me, I expect to see something different this year coming around. Now, we a few days ago we talked about expectations as it pertains to the team. What is an expectation that you think should be a high expectation? So, and what should be a low expectation? So, in other words, I want each one of you to give me the lowest expectations you can give and the highest you can give. Starting off with you, Andrew.
In terms of what?
For this team's outcome.
Oh, like their season?
Yep.
Okay. Man, highest expectation would be 11. I was looking through the schedule. There's a lot of games that we can easily win. And there's some that are 50-50 ball. It's just going to be who plays better and who coaches better. My low expectation is 6 wins. I don't see us getting less than 6 wins with a healthy Stafford. And that's pushing it. I think that's really low.
Okay. All right. I'll go next. I think the highest for me needs to be they have to win a division. And I know that everybody feel like these are unrealistic expectations to have, but follow me for a minute. All right. Just stay with me. We beat the team. We literally could have arguably beat the team that won the division in the Packers twice. Obviously there was some controversy in those games, but nonetheless, we could have beat them twice. And so on top of that part of it, you have to now go and look at the next best team. The next best team that destroyed us was the Vikings. Well, what did they do? They went out and destroyed their defense. So there is no Linval Joseph over there. There is no Everest Griffin. There's no Trey Waynes, no Xavier Rose. They lost a lot of players off that defense and offense. So you have to be able to look over there and say, okay, how do they mess up? Plus, ain't no Stephon Diggs. So if that's one part that you got to look at it. Then you go down to the Bears. One, like 2 words, Mitchell Trubisky. That's the quarterback. and I'm being honest. And Matt Nagy, in my opinion, he ain't shown to be a good coach. They won in spite of him. I watched this man go for 2 in a game where if he take the 1, it's a 1 possession. I don't even understand what he was thinking, but he did. And then our coach followed it up with his own 2. So I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, okay, all the teams have taken somewhat of a step back. If not now, it's the time for us to win the division. When is? Seriously. Now, Vikes 167 says there is a Daniel Hunter, though. You're right. But it's a different Daniel Hunter when you got a Daniel Hunter, a Linval Joseph, and you got Henry, and you got Everest Griffin, and then you can rotate and move, say, Everest in with Linval and then put Waverly out there. That ain't gonna be happening this year. Yeah, you lost some people. Stephon Diggs being gone is a huge loss for y'all. Even you gotta admit that, right? That's a huge loss for y'all at receiver. I know you picked up Jefferson, and I like Jefferson. I'm not gonna kill you on Jefferson, but a rookie, it's a rookie. I'm just saying, if there was ever a chance for this team to win the division, it has to be this. It has to be now. There's no way it cannot not be now. It just can't. So now the next question becomes to this. All right, stay with me. All right, stay with me. If you win a division, the easiest way to the playoffs is winning a division. But guess what that division win do? Get you a home playoff game. We ain't had that. Those are two things that I think should be happening this year. The lowest part for me will probably be we go 7-9. And we keep Matt Patricia and we keep Bob Quinn for one more year because the argument would be COVID-19. And to me, if the argument is going to be that, I think that's where we stay at. Now, Truth Teller says, I thought Nick Foles is at the Bears right now. It don't matter. I know he's over there, but they still have a coach that I don't believe in. Like y'all think I hate Matt Patricia. I think Matt Nagy's terrible. Because I think with Nagy, I'm like, man, his play calling is not where it's supposed to be. But to me, and even Vike said, that's small. That's a small joke aside. The division is pretty much open. It generally is none of the most competitive divisions fronts in the whole entire thing. And he's right. This is the time to do it. So I got the lowest being 7-9 and the highest being whatever we win the division. So Rachel, what's your outlook on this team? The highest expectation and lowest.
So I'm going to answer this question a little bit differently because I'm going to move away from my highest expectation and lowest expectation being their record and saying that my highest expectation is literally the reverse of my lowest expectation for them. And that is that I think the most that I could possibly hope for is that with a present run game, they're able to manage the clock better so that we don't send our defense back out there to lose the game for us, like happened so many times this past season. And on that same note, so essentially, I worded this incorrectly, but essentially my highest expectation for them is that they can actually manage the clock because they have the personnel to do so. And the defense to, if, we have to turn the ball over with a minute left, keep them from scoring that last second field goal or that last second touchdown or wherever it might be. Because if you think about if we had that this past season, how many more games would we have won?
I mean, good point.
So for me, the reverse of that we still can't manage the clock and we still can't hold them in that final minute or whatever it comes down to is my lowest expectation, that we just stay the same.
Basically every Lions team ever.
Yeah, my lowest expectation is that we don't change.
Oh, that we're the same old Lions. Okay, I understand.
Okay.
I don't want to be the same old Lions. So if we flip the script and we can manage the clock and we can finish games, that's my highest expectation for this team.
Okay. Now, Rocky Adams, a.k.a. Lions fan up in Florida, he says, I've got a top 5 D with a 23rd ranked D going into an easy schedule. I've got a 8-8 floor with a 11-win ceiling. So he's got them at the lowest 8-8, the highest 11-5. So we haven't got the extra game yet. So 11-5. Okay. All right. Listen, I ain't killing nobody on nothing today. I'm telling you. Steve-O says, so you're saying being able to force their will on teams.
I mean, that would be nice. But in the simpler terms, I'm just saying finish games. Like, how many games were we this close and we just could not finish?
Well, what Rachel was really saying is Stafford has 0 fourth quarter comebacks under Matt Patricia. Rest my case.
Truth Teller said, I think they can win the division considering the outside of the overall record of 3-12-1 last year, there wasn't a game the Lions couldn't win. Now, hold up. I'm not going to say that because the Vikings, we weren't even close. We wasn't even close in them Vikings games. Holy smokes, they destroyed us. We weren't even close. So we give them 2. But in 14, out of the 16, yes, you're right. There wasn't a game that they couldn't have won. They competed every game. I give Patricia credit for that. I ain't mad at you on that. But man, that Viking game, I don't even think we was even
Well, no, I
Yeah,
think we
what
were
was
in the first
happening
game.
there?
We was in the first game.
Man,
Until the end, and then we let them go up like 10
Then
on
we
us.
let
man.
Stephon Diggs burn Darius Slay. I don't know if
Boy,
we let them do that, but and then that was all she wrote. But
quarterback had time. You know, that's
no,
what it is.
Kirk Cousins actually had a whole lot of time on that.
Quarterback
Bro.
had time. So if you're looking at the screen right now and you're probably wondering, like, oh, what's this on the screen? This is the current opponents, not the schedule. I think the schedule comes out May 9th, and we will be talking about the schedule when it comes out. But this is the current opponents. And the reason I'm showing this is because I want you to be aware of where we stand with the opponents. Now, Andrew's going to be the last one to give us his ceiling and his floor for the Detroit Lions 2020 season. And then we're going to talk about why this schedule
I
is
thought
up.
Andrew already went.
Did I? I thought I saw him
I was
leave
about to
out
say, I
the
didn't
chat
know
and
he
come
Yeah, I
back.
already went, Luke.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. Bro,
I'll
listen,
be short and sweet. Look,
Listen.
I'll be short and sweet. You good?
my bad.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi's been acting up, so I don't know.
Okay, yeah, because I saw him leave us. So I didn't know if I got him or not. That's on me. So listen, the reason this schedule is up because we talk about this team. We talk about the high and the low, and I wanted y'all to be aware of who our opponents are because right now as it stands, we play the Cardinals on the road. I do not think that's going to be an easy win. I don't care if we played on week 1. I do not think that's going to be an easy win. I think 1 year under his belt with Kyler Murray getting better, the head coach is getting himself improved. Their biggest problem, they couldn't stop a tight end to save their life. They addressed that with Isaiah Simmons. Then we play the Falcons. We play the Falcons on the road as well. And I think that's another one. Look, now my baby crying. J-Mo, take over for me.
all right. We play the Falcons on the road. He's right. That's not going to be easy. But I'll give my opinion for the high and the lows for the division. My thing is, if Stafford's healthy, we're going 7-9. Like I always say it, since 2012, Stafford hasn't won less than 7 games when he's been healthy. So I'm going to stick to that. And my ceiling would be 12-4, win the division, and that's about it. I think we might have to have 12 wins to win the division. The Packers always win games somehow. Who knows why? So I think they would be an 11 or trending towards a 12-win team, and those swing games between playing the Lions will decide that. So my ceiling is us going 12-4. I had us at 11-5 last year if we were a healthy team. And the funny part is, I said if we were healthy over and over and over again, so fans can understand. And then we got injured, and we won 3 games. So I'm the same way. If we're a healthy team, the ceiling would be 12 wins. But when you look at some of these, all right.
I appreciate you, J-Mo. All right, so listen, this is the reason why I showed this. I want y'all to see the opponents because now the question becomes, who's the one opponent that you do not want to see week 1 and the one opponent that you do want to see week 1? We'll start off with you, Andrew. Tell me the one opponent you do not want to see week 1 and the one opponent you want to see week 1.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to go with the Saints. I do not want to see them week 1 because we need to start the season off hot. Okay. I mean, if we don't start the season off hot, morale is going to plummet, and it's going to plummet faster than Usain Bolt can run. Okay. So I really, really don't want to see the Saints week 1 because they're going to be super tough. The team that I wouldn't mind seeing is the Redskins for sure. I wouldn't mind seeing the Redskins or Jacksonville. Probably Jacksonville more than the Redskins just because their offense is so freaking bad, and their defense last year, even with all the talent they had, was just getting annihilated towards the end of the season. So I would love to start with Jacksonville or the Redskins, start off hot, get things going, and then go to our tougher competition.
All right, Rachel, what's the one opponent you definitely want to see week 1 and the one opponent you like, God, anybody but them week 1?
Okay, so I'm with Andrew on who I would like to see week 1. I'm okay with seeing the Redskins week 1, but I prefer it to be Jacksonville. And if they don't move that game overseas, and if we're allowed to actually go see these games, I will just be there harassing the Jacksonville fans. And
That's right.
because
That's right. Stand up in their building with the jersey on, loud and clear, so they can know you there.
No, I will tell you. I used to live in Jacksonville. Jacksonville fans are nasty. They get really nasty, and there's been multiple times where I've gone to games with my parents there, and my dad's like, "You're gonna get me into a fight," and I'm like, "No,
Wow.
that's not me."
Wow.
But the team I don't want to see week 1 is the Bucks, because I don't want to be their first experiment. Like Tom Brady's out there with Rob Gronkowski and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and these past 2 seasons, we have a bad habit of coming out really weak. Week 1, I mean, we got wrecked by the Jets 2 seasons ago. We tied Arizona last year. To me, I'm like, I'm not trying to see what Tom Brady's doing in Tampa Bay week 1, especially when we haven't been able to get our you-know-what together week 1 in the past few years.
Okay.
That's because they've been rookie quarterbacks, though, Rachel. Come on.
I get that's our Achilles heel, those rookie quarterbacks. I mean, hey, the Redskins last year. Come on.
Okay. All right, J-Mo, the one team that you like, yo, I want them week 1. And then the one team that you like, God, no. Anybody but them.
Well, see, I wish I could be different from Andrew and Rachel, but I think most Lions fans will have the same answers. Redskins for sure. I want all the smoke with the Redskins. I need them day 1. I need Chase Young day 1 so Luke can say he trash. I need it all. Like I need Luke to be like. I need Luke to after we win. I need Luke to be like.
I say,
I'll be like, after the game, Luke, I need you like, and Chase Young didn't do anything. Like he had no pass rush moves. He couldn't do nothing.
I just said he's still raw.
He's raw, but he's a spirit talent. But the Redskins, and I'm with Rachel. The last thing that I would ever wish for any Lions fan in NFL history for the rest of the existence is for us to face Tampa Bay week 1. That's probably why it's gonna happen.
All right, but let me just put this out here because I already know this.
We face Tampa Bay, man. It's gonna look like the Jets game. I'm sure Stafford will score some points. No, it's gonna look like the Saints game, 50-38. That's how it's gonna look.
I'm gonna explain this the best way possible. I absolutely want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers first week. Let me just tell you why.
Of course you do.
Let me tell you why. The first reason.
That's the tone.
The first reason is you're at home. And that means you're going to have a crowd behind you lit. That's one. But 2, it sets the tone. And the reason it sets the tone is because it's Tom Brady with Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Chris Goodwin, and the host of other players that I haven't even named yet because it was spinning your head. Now, on top of that, Ndamukong Suh's still on their D-line. And they have a good pass rush. So I'm going to get a chance to see what my offensive line looks like against a legitimate pass rush. I'm going to see what my defense looks like against a legitimate offense. And I'm going to be able to see my first pick taken 3rd overall in battle test against some really good receivers. The one team I absolutely do not want to see week 1 is right here, the Arizona Cardinals. Because if you go and play the Cardinals again, and you win, and it was a close win, that's not a good sign. If you lose, all hell finna break loose. And it's just not finna go over well. You're going to lose the fan base before you ever get the home game. You're going to have people trying to figure out what we doing at this draft that was going to stop DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald and Kurt Christians and everything else they done did, Andy Isabella and all this. And then God forbid Isaiah Simmons has a good game. All you gonna hear Lions fans say, and we took Okuda first. So now you're gonna already have a setup for people confident to get attacked in a heartbeat. We need to come out and win against the Bucks, which won't be easy, and smack them in the mouth with the crowd behind us versus being on the road against Arizona, a team that we tied with, should have blew out, and now they improved and they surpassed us. It's just all bad on every level, and that's why I wanted to show that schedule because that made a difference for me. I know this is going to sound crazy.
Look, I want to touch on that real quick.
Go ahead.
I absolutely love the fact that you're like, yo, let's take out a tough opponent right away, set the tone, get everyone hyped. But I went to that Chargers game last year, that opener, and fans every other play would boo. I mean, like anything went wrong, dude. If we weren't able to drive down the field or anything, we were getting booed like crazy.
Okay.
It absolutely drove me nuts because it was a home opener. Dude,
Okay,
it like breaks my heart, man, because I'm like, yo, it's a home opener.
No, we got booed because we tied Arizona, and then we weren't playing like much versus the Chargers.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If you start off right now, and let's say you come out, even if it's a close win against them, you know that first game ain't nobody booing. It's opening day. They're gonna be drunk, lit, ready to go. New season, new schedule, and ain't nothing that they're gonna look at different. They're gonna be excited about it. And I just looked at it and I said, listen, if you're gonna have a chance to do it, knock them out first. Get them out the way, because if you catch them once they start getting in rhythm. Tom Brady getting rhythm with them receivers and that tight end group? Jesus. Oh, my God. No, get them out the way immediately, because I believe they are winning the division this year. And I know that they got the Saints in that division, but the Buccaneers are about to get real in that division, okay? Panthers ain't doing nothing. I mean, let's keep it honest. So once you go past the Panthers, you go to the Falcons. The Falcons got some issues. We shouldn't have no problems with them. So the Saints are their only competition, and I think they match up really well with them. If you can knock them out right out the gate, that would be
Luke, this is why I disagree with you a bit, because I've watched the Lions my whole life, and we are the team that beats the Bucs, and then next week gets drilled by the Chicago Bears or Arizona.
Right.
That's the Lions.
That's
what we do.
The difference is this. Listen, the difference is this, though. I'm going to show you the difference. The difference is if you beat the Bucs, and then let's say you end up going on the road
and losing to the Redskins.
And lose to the Redskins, right? Well, we get the Redskins at home, but I mean on the road, it had to be to the Bears or the Cardinals. If you go on the road and lose to the Cardinals, I don't think most fans have that level of respect for the Cardinals like they do right now with the Bucs having Tom Brady. So if you beat the Bucs, they'll forgive you as long as you was competitive in that game. But if you mess around week 1 and play the Cardinals again and lose, oh my Jesus! Listen, you're gonna lose the crowd before it even got started. And so, to me, I'm about take out the team before they get there, because I'm telling you, if you get the Bucs later, and that might be the game that decides if we win a division, or that might be the game that decides if we're going to the playoffs. I don't like them odds against the Buccaneers. I don't.
Well, I don't like the Bucs regardless. I don't care when we play.
No, but see, that's a difference. And if you remember last year when I told everybody we was going to beat Kansas City, even you was like, "What?"
Well, no, I had us beating Kansas City.
No. When the schedule first came out, you had us losing to Kansas City. You had us starting.
I had us losing to the Eagles and beating Kansas City.
Oh, so that's where the 3-1 came from. Okay, well, I know. Yeah. Well, maybe it was Mike. Somebody had us losing to Kansas City. I was like,
Mike and Drew. Drew was like, "It's a guaranteed loss. There's no way."
Okay. Yeah, I just remember when I came out and I said, hey, the fact that we got Kansas City week 4 bodes well for us, because if you pay attention to them down the stretch, they got better. And I was like, look, I would rather have them early, get them out the way, Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Eagles, because all them teams stepped up. So that's what it was. Luke G wants to go 0-3, so they fired Patricia. Blue and silver, that is not true. That is not true. In fact, I'm rooting for them to win. I just saying that if I'm going to take an opponent, I want to. It's almost like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Smart Guy, where they told him to go into prison, find the biggest dude, and knock him out. I want to do that. Knock them out. Who's the biggest person on our schedule? When you go through our schedule, if you beat a division opponent, great. But it's like, cool. You beat a divisional opponent. It's not going to be the same as
if we beat Tampa Bay. It will be like when we beat Brady the last. It'd be like when we beat Brady the last time.
Yeah,
people be like, "What?"
When we beat New England, I promise you, when we beat New England that in Patricia's first year, it was a different feel. When we battled with Kansas City this year, it was a different feel. So I'm not looking at it for nobody to get fired. But since you brought that up, that did bring me to my next question, but in a different direction. And I'm gonna start this off with you, Rachel. After this draft, even if the Lions don't make the playoffs, do Bob Quinn keep his job based on the draft alone?
I don't necessarily think that Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn are tied together as much as everybody else does. So even if, the season ends up looking like last season and we're all disappointed it didn't go that well, I have a feeling we could see Patricia go and Bob Quinn stay. I don't know if I would say that just based on this draft alone, but and this is going to sound so stupid, it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling that they're not as tied together as everybody thinks that they are. I even kind of think, I didn't want to buy into the rumors about Patricia and Quinn being at odds on players, but I do see Derek Brown as more the Matt Patricia style player than Jeff Okuda. So, and a lot of people throw out that whole like, oh, Bob Quinn, what good players has he ever drafted? But then, he has drafted some good players. I don't think he necessarily in his role has been a total failure. So I don't think that it would be that this draft keeps Bob Quinn alive more so than that. I just don't know if their intention is to fire him if this season doesn't pan out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm in agreement with you. I think that when you look at this, you have to examine all aspects of it. Now, we got over 80 people in this chat. I think I see 84. And so I see 55 likes, 4 thumbs down. Get those likes up. I appreciate you thumbs down, people. So shout out to you for being here and taking time out your wonderful day in life to give us a thumbs down. Appreciate that. But listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. You see, I left this message on the board from Go Lions for a long time. And the reason I did that is because I agree with him. I don't think Matt Patricia or Bob Quinn will be fired, even if they do miss the playoffs. I think they would have to have like an absolute garbage record, like another 3-13, or maybe like a 4-12, something horrible. If they go 7-9, the Lions would tell its season ticket holders that we improved. And I don't think that they're going to fire them, not one bit. I just don't. And to me, I just feel like no matter what happens this season, we got one more year with them. So we should stack up on it and get her done. That's what we should do. What are your thoughts on this, Andrew? Do you see the Lions keeping Bob Quinn after this draft, no matter what, and getting rid of Patricia, or what? What are you seeing the outcome is? Because I know a lot of people are praising Bob Quinn for this draft and saying that it's the best draft he's had since he's been here. So what are your thoughts on what happens with them with this season?
Yeah, I mean, Rachel was straight spitting facts. So I'm definitely going to stand behind that. And I think this was his best draft. I mean, I gave it an A-. You calculate it up as a B+, but that is still really good for a draft class.
Right.
As far as everything that's going on, I mean, the fact that there was a rumor, whatever, rumor not, that Bob Quinn and Patricia were arguing about Derek Brown and Kuda, that tells me? That tells me that they're not as packaged as people think, So when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at them separately. Bob Quinn gets the pieces Patricia's supposed to put together. I think there's a lot of freaking pieces we have. So from my eyes, Bob Quinn's doing his job, and Patricia has not executed. So if anyone's getting fired, it's 100% going to be Patricia over Bob Quinn, because Bob Quinn's brought in a crap ton of free agents. He's drafted a lot of players that fit the scheme and this and that. And, barring injury, he's done a lot to give Patricia what he needs. So if he doesn't get it done this season, with the crap going on in Green Bay with the quarterback situation, and the Bears not having a quarterback, and the Vikings literally getting rid of their entire roster basically, then he's gone. I mean, there's literally nothing. There's no reason for them not to be successful. So,
okay. Now, 12th Man Pride, I think this is the response to you, Rachel. He says, laughing my A off. What? Jeff Okuda is the perfect outside corner for the Patriots scheme. That's exactly what Patricia wanted, not Derek Brown. Now, stay with me. I'm going to show something. The New England Patriots got rid of Tom Brady. 6-time Super Bowl winning quarterback Tom Brady. They still did not draft a quarterback. And the reason for that is because they understood that if I'm going to do something in this draft, I'm going to get players that can fit my system, and I'm not going to do it. They had a first round pick. They completely traded out of the first because they was like, it's not worth it. And they still haven't addressed the quarterback position, which they could do with Andy Dalton or Cam Newton or whoever else gets released. I think the person that they might be waiting on, which I know y'all might gonna think I'm crazy, I think they might be looking like if the Lions cut David Blau, they gonna take him. And so you heard it here first. If David Blau gets released or cut, the Patriots will take him. But I just want to show you the difference in the mindset that the Patriots, for all practical purposes, don't always draft for need. They draft the talent, and they find a way to make the system work. This is what their head coach has said many times, that he'll draft the talent and figure out how to move the system around the talent. And I do believe that Patricia wanted to D-tackle because, again, we only swapped out Snacks with Danny Shelton. So it's like,
Well,
right.
and
Go ahead.
and my response to that was, I mean, realistically though, Matt Patricia has vocalized many times that his big priority on defense is stopping the run, and I always was like, oh, I mean, great, because our secondary is awful. But you know what I mean? Like, he, in a lot of his interviews, like he's not been shy about how he prioritizes stopping the run, which is why, in my mind, for him, whether or not that works out for the Patriots defensive scheme or not, he has told us what his priorities are.
Right. Now, I'm going to take this time so y'all can get y'all questions in. So any questions that you have, please put it in the chat. We'll take those questions. You can address it. Huh?
I'm going to say I ain't answered.
No, I know you didn't. I'm just letting them know to start putting their questions in there, because if as soon as I say it, they're not gonna do it. So I want to be able to have the questions. Yeah. I want to be able to have them. And so, like Alexander keep asking this: do you want Andy Reid? We have no chance of getting them. Sean Payton, we have no chance of getting them. Or Bill Belichick as our head coach, we have no chance of getting any of them. And I don't, if you're asking me who would I take of all three, obviously I'm gonna take the one that did the most winning. In terms of the championships, but overall, I don't have a chance to get none of them. So I don't, not disregarding your question, but it's kind of like I can't honestly answer that question, knowing that none of them are going anywhere. Maybe Peyton at best, but if Peyton come here, he's not going to come here unless he's GM and head coach. Just saying. J-Mo. All right. To the question, does Bob Quinn keep his job after this draft, no matter what happens this season?
I think he does. Matt Patricia, I don't like. I agree with what Rachel said. I don't think Bob Quinn is as connected as to Matt Patricia as we like to believe. Yes, it was his decision to get rid of Caldwell and Ford love Caldwell. But Bob Quinn could just, for lack of a better term, just be like, look, I made a mistake hiring my boy. But when I had Caldwell and he was only an average coach, we won games. You know what I'm saying? And he could just do that. And then they'd be like, if I find a better, more qualified guy, that's proven, Martha, I promise. And then she'll be like, okay. And then Bob Quinn will be here. And I do think Bob Quinn has had some solid draft picks, like some late steals. It seems like the third round has been his best round. Tracy, besides Will Harris, Tracy Walker, and Kenny Golladay, and now we got Jonah Okwara. So, so I think he definitely stays, because I don't think he's as tied to Matt Patricia as people are led to believe. I think people just put them together because he's Matt Patricia's guy. Of course, you're going to do that. But I still think he stays here as GM regardless of what happens this season. Unless we go 0-16, then he'll get fired.
Okay. All right, now here go the first question. This comes from Ceres Banders. Will Jason Cornell break out as a rookie? I don't think he makes the team. Do anybody think he makes the team? Because I don't think he makes the team.
I think Penasini has a higher chance of doing what you want Jason to do, Ceres.
I think Jason hits the practice squad. I really do. I do not think he makes the team. He's essentially not H. John Robertson, Austin Bryant. So I don't think he I don't think he does it. You can call me funky. Says, can anyone name me the corner that Bill Belichick led Patriots took in the top 25? The highest I know was 27, and Bill has only taken one in the first ever. Yet people say we did it because it's the Patriots way. I cannot think of a corner that he's taken in the first. I thought Rozelle Dawlings, I thought he was one, but I think he wasn't even the first. And then I thought about that other dude. God, what is his name? I thought about Gilmore, but then I said, no, that was the Bills. So I'm like, hey,
Hold
good
up.
point.
I want to address this, though. So, yes, they don't draft them, but the Patriots are notorious for grabbing elite cornerbacks in free agency. Darrelle Revis, Stephon Gilmore. I mean, Stephon Gilmore literally won Defensive Player of the Year as a cornerback. I mean, do you know how good you have to be to win that? So, yeah, they may not draft them, but they definitely go out and grab amazing cornerbacks in free agency.
Okay. Let me see. Let me go down here. I'm going down a list of questions. Alexander, he says, how much do we offer Kenny G? That is really going to depend on three things. The first thing is, what is the average rate of the top 5 receivers going? And if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty high at this point. And then 2 is going to be on who are the receivers coming out in next year's draft, because that could be a huge pick for them where they can say, hey, rather than pay them, we'll move on. And then 3, it really boils down to what happens with this season, because if he has another good season, he's going to ask for a certain price that the Lions may not want to pay. So I think that's where you at. Nicholas Aaron says, at Luke, with no injuries, I'm 100% convinced that Jason Huntley is making the team. What percentage of chance does the round table give it? I think he's 100% making the team. I don't know if y'all watched the stream that we did for the draft, but when we did it, I was like, a running back. And then I looked and I said, oh, never mind. He's a returner. I was like, Poe Ty Johnson. See you, Agnew and Ty. And that was my exact words. Poe Ty Johnson, see you, Agnew and Ty. I think he had like 5 touchdowns as a returner. So, and the fact that he was still decent as a running back who can catch up the backfield, I thought he fit that Deion Lewis type back deal. So, yes, I think he's definitely making it. So, I'm going to say I give it 90% because I've seen the Lions do stranger things. What percentage are you putting on it, Rachel, that Jason Huntley makes this team?
So, first off, I'll just say this. As far as a returner goes, I might be the minority here. I was pretty impressed with how Jamal Agnew turned last year around after having so many issues the year prior. So he was one of those players that I was kind of like, well, man, I see the potential. So I hope that, he picks it up. And then I felt like last season he did a really good job of showing when they did keep him why they should have.
Okay.
So to me, as far as here's how I'll list the percentage. I still think there's a 60% chance that Huntley makes the roster because I think he's going to push Ty Johnson off of it.
Okay.
And I think that means that he can kind of fill the role in the running back core that Ty Johnson has been filling and then provide a rotation at returner of some sort. I mean, I know that Agnew is a little bit better on punt returns than he is kick returns. So maybe that's where Huntley fits in on special teams.
Okay. I can see that happening too. Andrew, what percentage are you giving Jason Huntley to make the team?
I got him at about a 90%. And I say
90?
that because, yeah, I mean, Ty Johnson he wasn't really clicking. And if you look at Agnew, he started really, really poorly last year. And unless he goes back to that elite return specialist that he was when he got voted into the Pro Bowl, I definitely think Huntley will take over. as our return man and will easily make the roster at that point.
I mean, and also keep in mind that they tried to find a spot in some form of way to use Agnew's abilities with the reverses and things like that. And now if you bring in Huntley, you can still run that reverse and still keep your returner and still get a running back in the midst of all that. So it's rough. J-Mo, what percentage are you giving Jason Huntley making the team?
I got it at about 80%, mainly because like I'm with Rachel about Agnew. I think Agnew, like you know what's funny. I feel like the Lions have players that are like cockroaches and you can't get rid of them. Nevin Lawson was one of them. It seemed like Christian Jones is one of them. And Lions fans have been very hard on Agnew, and he somehow always makes the team. So I think he's gonna make the team, but Ty Johnson is gonna lose his spot because he just was trash. Sadly.
Okay.
So yeah.
See Perry say Quinn is the best GM we had in 20 years. Do anybody disagree with that?
Jim would from like on the Prowl, but
but in terms of you, Andrew, do you disagree with that statement?
Nah, he's definitely the best one.
Rachel, do you disagree with that statement?
I mean, I don't know about 20 years because, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you who the GM was 20 years ago. But okay, then yes.
Matt Millen, Tom Lewan, and Martin Mayhew.
Out of all of those, I'm not saying that Quinn is a great GM, but he's better than those.
Hey, okay. J-Mo, do you disagree with that statement?
Man, Bob Quinn has done a lot of stuff to piss me off, but I think always thought he's been good at drafting players because he always finds gems that the other GMs could never really find. So I'm gonna say, yeah, Quinn's the best GM we had in 20 years.
Okay. You can call me Funky, says Luke. Thoughts on Britt from Seattle? I know he was released from Seattle. Here's the problem with Britt. Britt is one of them guys that I can see the Lions picking up because if you listen to Math Bum yesterday on Real Detroit Lions Fans, and if you didn't, you go back and listen to it again because it's still recorded and you want to check it out. It was a great show. But if you listen to there, he made a very good point that generally the Lions take more agile linemen, and Britt kind of had that ability to pull and stuff. The problem was he wasn't always consistent. And when even when I will watch him in games, if you pay attention to Russell Wilson, they can blow his side up, and Russell Wilson knew how to escape it because I almost felt like Russell knew that he was going to be the weak link, in my opinion. But I think they got one starting guard in Jonah and a backup in Steinberg, and I'm telling you that other guard spot is up for grabs. So. Devin99 says, should we sign Taco Charlton? No, absolutely not. What? Do anybody think we should sign Taco Charlton? I didn't like him coming out of Michigan. I told everybody that he was garbage. I had people from Michigan tell me I was a hater and I didn't know what I was talking about. And they took him, and guess what? He's on the scrap heap. So kudos to y'all for calling me a hater. I'll keep it coming. I'm just gonna tell y'all what I see on film.
I would have taken him then in that draft. Will I take him now? No.
Okay.
Way.
J-Mo, you the Michigan guy here. Would you take Taco Charlton?
It's a no for me, dog, with a Randy face emoji.
Angelo says, who should be the free agents we sign now? For me, Marcus Golden. Yeah, him and God, what is the name of that D tackle? Jesus.
Marcel Darius.
No, because Marcel Darius is he's in the midst of trying to get ready to leave football, and he's not going to hold it down. It's another one. I'm trying to think of his name.
What team did he play for? I'll tell you.
Steelers.
Oh, Hayward. Well, not Hayward.
No, it's a D tackle.
Hayward's available? I'm about to be like, what?
No, they had a D tackle. It's going to come to me. I swear it's going to come to me. I just can't think of who it's going to
be. Or something? I don't know.
To it. There it is. Him. Oh, Thank you. I want him.
I was thinking it because they got really good D tackles. I just started thinking.
But he's going to come cheap, and he's still going to take up space. That's all I care about. Come cheap,
I didn't know he
take
was
up space.
available.
I thought they released him. Last time I checked the free agency list when the draft was over, his name was on there.
Wow, that would
Somebody
be
in the chat is saying that the Steelers DT signed.
Yeah, I
Really?
didn't think
I was
he
about
was
to say that would
free
be a great pickup if we could.
He signed? Oh, Jesus. Well, I guess all we can offer is Marcus. We need another D tackle. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't care how they do it. Call snacks, apologize, whatever. We need another D tackle. It just is what it is. I'm serious. Let me see. Any more questions in the chat? I'm going through them. Let's see. Let me see. Taco Charlton. What in the Mexican dinner? Y'all is silly. Oh, let's see. This comes from Angelo. He says, I think he must put we. Should we sign Griffin or Golden? Griffin, I don't think fits what we're doing here, and I don't think they will sign him. When Mike Daniels got released, he 100% fit what we was doing here, and we didn't have it. Motown Football says, do y'all have faith in this D line? No, I do not.
No,
I don't.
I was just telling Matt Bomb that yesterday. I was like, this D-line don't look. I'm not really too confident about it, which is why I had a problem with the Huntley pick. I thought we needed a D lineman, but I'm not, because if Trey Flowers get hurt, what is this D line?
I mean, I'll take it a step further. To show y'all how crazy this is. The Lions could have literally took Nevin Gallimore with that first third pick and still got Jonah Jackson with the next third pick and still picked up everybody else. So we took Julian Okoye. So let's say we kept that the same. After taking Julian Okoye, I just want to show y'all the level of this. They still could have took Nevin Gallimore to fix the D-line and still got Jonah Jackson in the next round, or at the very least still got Steinberg in the next round. Either way it go, you walked away with a guard. Our D-line scares the crap out of me. It really does.
You know what though? There's so much uncertainty about our D-line, but when you look at our D-line the year before last, once we got snacks, we played very well. Once we were able to stop the run, we played so much better.
Yep.
And that's Trey Flowers is definitely an upgrade from any DN that we had when we had that good D lineman. So when you add a Deshaun Hand, Danny Shelton, Nick Williams, and Okwara, I think our D line has enough talent with those five to definitely be able to be productive.
Yeah, I'm listen, I'm looking at it from the standpoint that Blue and Silver says Gallimore is a project. Okay. He's okay. He's going to be on the Cowboys. We'll see how much of a project he is. I think you're grossly misunderstanding Gallimore. That man was not a project. He does something that I was critical of Chase Young and other people doing. He has pass rush moves. He has a high motor, and he eats up double teams like Aaron Donald. It's uncanny in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, Romeo is nice. Let me see. I don't see any more questions, people. So we've been on for an hour and 50 minutes. We'll do final thoughts. Again, we will be doing this. I believe there should be a show on Sunday, and then we're back on our regular schedule with Tuesdays and Thursdays. So make sure you are subscribed to all the members of the DSA. They are linked in the description, as well as our new website. That is also linked in the description. And so that's the Blue and Silver. Gallimore runs out of plays. Okay, Blue and Silver. Tell me the game that you want me to look at, and I will look at to see that. If not, if you're interested, this is not me coming at you or nothing like that. This is me saying for real. Okay, what did you see that I missed? If you want, when we get offline, you can shoot me a message on Discord or Twitter or even email. If you do it in email, say, hey, this is Blue and Silver. And then what we'll do is we can do a film study together. We don't have to be live or anything. We'll sit there and watch the film and see what's really going on with it. When I watch film of him, and I watch way too much of it, that man was a beast. And Rod Love 313 says Gallimore's production didn't match his abilities. What do you mean? What? No, I'm serious.
I
Like,
guess
what do
you
you?
say he should have been even better, Luke. I don't know.
What?
I mean, I like Gallimore, but we'll see. I think Okwara is gonna be good. He gotta be healthy to be good though.
Wait, hold on. Wait. What do you mean? I want to make sure I understood what he mean. Are you saying that he should have had better stats? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that what are you saying? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, he's a D
Throw
tackle.
some more questions in there if y'all got any before we do these final thoughts.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure this out. Like, he confused the hell out of me with that one. Like, what? It doesn't match his production? Okay. Let's see. That's his. Let me see. Let me scroll down. That's his production. What am I missing in his production? Let me get this off the screen first. What am I missing off his production? The man has 8.5 sacks. He's a D tackle. 100% D tackle.
I think what he's saying is his stats are inflated and that it's not actually like him doing it.
He got
like it's not his skills
fumbles.
that are getting him stats.
He got 5 forced fumbles, 8.5 sacks, 17 tackles for a loss, 147 tackles. I can show you 3 plays. Just go to the Texas game where he put the worst spin move that I have not seen since Aaron Donald and got after the quarterback. It is multiple games. Look at LSU. They gave him a one-on-one one time, and then after that, they double-teamed him the rest of the game, and he ate him up. I don't know. Like, Ndamukong Suh, to kind of put it in perspective, into a perspective of looking at it, he's a D tackle, and when you go to Ndamukong Suh, you know, if you respect Ndamukong Suh, his numbers throughout his career don't look gaudy, even though he had 10 sacks in the first season of him. His numbers don't look as gaudy, but it's the effect that he has on the game that's so huge. And I'm just saying, like, when you saying that it didn't mesh up, that's why I'm asking, like, what you mean? I think he's a phenomenal talent, and I think you got to look at it. It sounds better than what we got at D tackle, like, right now. Like, what we got at D tackle right now is just like, okay, we got Danny freaking Shelton. Like, I'm not knocking Danny, but he ain't no snacks. he ain't no snacks. I don't care.
I think Danny is gonna be really good though. That's just what I think personally. I think he's gonna be very good.
Like, Ndamukong Suh had 24 sacks in his whole career. He got 12 in his last year alone. And on top of that, he had 20.5 tackles for a loss that year. Most of those came against that damn Texas game. He destroyed them, but nonetheless, it's what he did after that. Everybody was so scared of this dude. Like, there's some things you just can't put on the stat sheet. That's all I'm pointing out. And to me, that was one of the things. But give me your final thoughts, J-Mo, for the people.
All I gotta say is I don't think the Lions should be taking luxury picks in the draft when you're 3-12, but I gave them a B overall. And now hopefully in free agency they just make a big splash because I'm not really that confident in our pass rush. Go get Marcus Golden, do whatever you got. You got $30 million in cap space. Go get Marcus Golden and sign Kenny Golladay to make me feel better. And shout out to all of the fans in the chat, man. I think this draft we had the best draft in the division though, compared to like everyone. I know Vikings had a solid draft. I do got a video out there on that, so if you want to see that video, make sure you go to the channel. But as long as the Packers took Jordan Love, I ain't worried about next year.
Okay. Now Rod Love 313 says, okay, Luke, I will watch more of his tape, but I liked it Blacklock more. I'm telling you, you compare their tape. I'm telling you, it's a difference. Like, I looked at the highest level talent that he can go against. He went against LSU and still had a good game. He went against Texas. Texas wasn't the highest level that he went against, but he destroyed Texas. And you go through, he went against, like, who did he not go against? Now that I think about it, he went against some high-end talent and still performed. That's all I'm saying. What's your final thoughts, Andrew?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate y'all. Me and Real got over 300 subscribers overnight.
Yes.
So
I'm holding the
appreciate y'all and all that support.
My bad.
Thank you. And I
couldn't get you the clap sound. That's on me. I'm holding the baby, but hey, I got it.
Hey, you're all good. And then I also keep seeing things about DSA and Micro Mike. And DSA, you know, we post our things. All our links are below. And Micro Mike is doing his own thing, and we've already wished him the best. So if you want to check out his channel, you know, you can search him. But these are some of the members of DSA talking right now. And then we got a couple that did not join the show, but their links are below if you want to check out their channels.
Yep. And to our queen, the queen of the den, what do you have for your final thoughts?
Just want to say thanks as always to everybody for a good show, all the members that were on tonight, and everybody in the chat. Was glad to see Rocky join. I saw my dad post something in there again. So we got a little bit of Florida momentum down here.
I see it.
Let's grow this. Let's grow the outside Michigan One Pride family too, because I think a lot of those people are always looking for their pride. You know, they're looking for other Lions fans. I always was. So thank you for all that. Don't forget to subscribe to everybody in the DSA. I know everybody's been putting out some great stuff this week, especially after the draft. Remember to like and comment and share. That helps significantly. And besides all of that, I will use this time to say one thing, guys. Don't boo your home team at home on their home opener. Don't do that. Like, if you want to do that
broke my heart.
If you want to do that in the middle of the season and they have been playing pathetically, that's one thing. But don't boo them on your home opener. Come on, guys. This is your team. And especially, no matter where it's being televised, it is nationally televised. It's a bad look, y'all. Don't do it.
Okay. Okay, now, two things. Artist Friend says, I want to see that video. What's your YouTube name? In the description of this video, if you look right now, you'll see Real Detroit Lions Fans. That is the YouTube name for Andrew and Real. They are the two who runs that. If you look, you clearly know Rachel Marie because her name is directly on there as well. And 313 JMO, his is in there linked as well. You're here, so you know my name, obviously. So that is the reality in which we are at now. So if y'all can hear that, y'all hear clapping, correct? Now, if you're wondering why I'm giving you the clapping sound effect, is because this thing right here, let me get down there. Hold on. Boom. Ceres Banders says, I am engaged. I got engaged today, people. So to him, yes, to him. Yes. Now, I just want you to know, congratulations on getting engaged. I don't know who the new Mrs. Banders is going to be, but she's got to be a lucky girl because you are at least committed to us, and that tells me you're going to be committed to her. So that's awesome. Also, make sure that you check out our website. That is also linked in the description, and make sure you subscribe to each member of the DSA. Now, I like to always end a show on a positive note, and today I had a really hard time trying to figure out who should my positive note come from. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks, people. Do not judge me for this one, but I think it's warranted. Today's positive word comes from Luke G. And today's positive word is do not forget who you are. In other words, make sure that whatever happens, you stay true to yourself and do not forget who you are. You are going to be tested time in and time out, and there are going to be things that are going to occur where they say you are not who you think you are not this, you are not that, and this blah, 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 blah. Remember who you are. And remember that there's people who are so close to you that not only can they vouch for you, they know the real you, the true you, so you have no reason or no desire to prove anything to them. Simply just take that moment and remember who you are. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great show. It's not bad coming back. We hit 88 in the chat today, so that's cool. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.